For this assignment, I'd like you to post-process a rendering you made from a previous class. Now, if you don't have a rendering you can use or can't find it, you can use the one provided in the images folder. It's called raw-render-kitchen. Just use raw-render-kitchen in the images folder and then follow along. Do the steps we did in the lecture in the bath assignment and then save as a Photoshop file. And you just submit the Photoshop file. So in this case, all you need to do is submit the Photoshop file, and I will look at what layers you used and how you made it all. Again, the best thing you could do is go step by step by step in the bathroom example, where we don't have to use the exact same settings, but we have similar steps. In this particular example I gave you, however, you do not need to create that mask that we had to do for the windows, because these windows are fine. If you do the mask, if you end up doing the mask, you'll end up with windows that look black, which is not right. And in this case, we wanted both of them. Both the window was too dark and the room was too dark. Whereas in the bathroom, the windows were fine, but the room was too dark. So hopefully that gives you an example. So you don't have. So there's one step you don't have to do, and also we don't need to add any glowing to any lamps here. There are no low wattage lamps that are here that could create that kind of a glow. So you don't have to worry about that either. There's no magic solution for post-processing, and that's why you're going to upload your image. But here's some things you might want to suggest. Think about adding a vignette. Again, we typically do that. Think about adjustment layers, photo filters, levels, and curves. Maybe play around with those and see what works. Maybe one or two of them might work for you, or all three. Make a duplicate of the background layer so you can get back to it if necessary. Make a duplicate of the background layer to maybe add a blending mode to it. And remember, what you do to one layer above is going to affect it's going to affect the overall image. You can use different opacities to blend one layer over the other. Maybe you can start with cropping the image to begin with. You can welcome to use other post-processing techniques online, but ideally it would be one of your images. Or again, the raw render kitchen. Here's some examples to consider. So one thing is to make sure it's noticeable. That is one of the things that's very important. Make sure it's a noticeable change, and that the change makes it look better. Again, if you don't have an image that needs a major change, or that you can create an image with a strong change, then use the kitchen in the folder. So these two, yeah, that's a little bit lighter, but not really that much. And I don't know, I think the before looks actually better. This one here, I can't tell the difference. There's a before and after shot that was submitted. I can't tell the difference between the two of them. So make sure it's a noticeable difference. In this one, the student went through all the work. This is their rendering. But when they did it, their final looks worse than the original. See how that's all burnt out? Like it's all washed out and not has no definition. You're losing things here. So yeah, your image has to be improved, which you submit. This one here, the person added just a color shift. And granted, you can certainly do a color shift, but there's more to an image than just changing the color. And actually, some levels down in this lower one would probably add quite a bit to it. When you work on it, you might be tempted to make a lot of different layers. All right? More is not better. Notice how many layers we ended up with in the bath setting. There wasn't that many layers. So try and consider that and keep it tight. I can see what's happening here. They did a hue saturation here and another one there because when they did this to it, it changed that. So, I mean, go back and adjust the existing layer perhaps, or do a different order. Try things like that. And you can just click and drag on the order of the different layers to see what happens to your piece. Then if you don't like some of these layers, click on it and click on the delete down here. Just drag them to the delete trash can down here, and it'll be fine. As you do your steps though, even in the kitchen, so this would be our goal, don't just do the steps because we did it in the bathroom a certain way with a certain settings. Make sure you can adjust it, that it looks good on the final piece. So here, for example, by doing the settings just like we did in the bathroom with exactly the same brightness and exactly the same darkness and exactly the same pieces and all that, it got blown out of proportion. It just became overly bright and not a better picture. This one here was done primarily with just basically 3 layers. So you don't have to apply every technique. You don't have to do everything. You just have to just do enough to get the good view. And then when you're done, save this particular file as a PSD file, and you can, that's the Photoshop file,